welcome to those of you joining us for the first time this week. I see new faces, and it was so special to see so many friends and meet some of you for the first time last night at the welcome reception, some of you whose faces I've seen on Zoom for a year, so it's so special. Can we pause for a moment and collectively kind of take in these beautiful and powerful flags behind us, or behind me, in front of you? Just really incredible. I want to take a minute to thank the volunteers and staff who worked so hard yesterday and early this morning, some in the rain, to get these displayed. It's so important that we have this in a visual area right here on the National Mall to recognize the approximately 6,000 people diagnosed with ALS in the US each year. And we know that data isn't even accurate, it's not global, and that number is rising. Some experts estimate that cases of ALS are rising by as much as 70% by the year 2040. It's unacceptable. Today we honor and share the story of the 6,000 people represented on these flags and all of you. We honor and celebrate you and the work you're doing to increase awareness of and end ALS. And we will end ALS and take care of our community and the people living with it in the meantime. Big thanks again to all of you who made this possible, our staff, sponsors, volunteers, special events team who planned an entire summit with us, and collaborating organizations. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing Nneena Freelon. She is the wife of the late Phil Freelon, the lead architect of record for the National Museum of African American History and Culture right here, next to our display in Washington, D.C. Phil was diagnosed with ALS in 2016 and passed in 2019. This is one of the reasons that this particular spot on the National Mall is so special for the ALS community. Nneena, here with her daughter Maya, had the role of caretaker for her husband until his passing, and has transformed her grief into a story of hope and passion. Again, it's my honor to present 7-time Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist and composer, Mrs. Nneena Freelon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good to see my people. You are all my people, and I am glad to be here. I bring greetings from North Carolina and the entire Freelon family. My daughter Maya Freelon, right here. I was reminded as I flew on Delta Airlines that this very flight from RDU to DCA was a part of our lives for 9 years while my husband worked on this incredible project. Phil Freelon, the president of the Freelon Group and the architect of record for the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture. I think I would discuss his weekly 45-minute commute became a part of our family's normal. As the majestic building moved through the design phase, the planning phase, Phil was determined to see this building rise, even though he was diagnosed in 2016. The museum opened on September 24th, 2016, just 6 months after his diagnosis. Phil passed away in 2019, and as I stand here now, my voice as singer, as holder of memory, and Phil, my beloved, unreduced by ALS after all. Phil believed that ALS was ultimately a design problem, and that all design problems have solutions, multiple ones. We have a saying in the African American tradition, every goodbye ain't gone. Every goodbye ain't gone. And so I stand here, a wife, yes, a wife, still grieving the 40-year marriage, and as a member, a proud member of the ALS community, of seekers, sojourners, and so, we are here on this very day, this extraordinary moment, in the nation's capital, dreaming of speaking and walking and running and climbing and having our being in a body that remembers how to move. In this brilliant now, we are here, knowing time to be a thing that we cannot manufacture. And because of that, it is so very precious. We are here, having walked, having used a cane, a scooter, or a wheelchair. We are here bearing witness to our bodies forgetting, yet holding fast to the synapse of determination and purpose. In this bright and shining moment, we are here, row after row after row of people, shapeshifters, changing the whole conversation, working, stretching toward a cure, reaching for the old song. Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. We are here by grace, and we becoming still, reclaiming our mourning bodies. We are here, tears uprising from our hearts' broken banks, pushing up and through tangled sorrows and unashamed. We are growing new hands, strong hands, wise hands that hold possibilities, growing new ears that listen, 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 listen for the sounds of a cure blooming. We are here occupying time and space for a season and a reason. We are here in this bright and shining moment, breathing tomorrow and wielding a geometry of hope. We are here, our lived experience a power grid. We are the multitude. We are young and old, mothers and brothers. We are wealthy. We live below the poverty line. We are black and brown and gay and straight. We are veterans and farmers, athletes, actors. We are unemployed. We hold advanced degrees. We are skilled laborers, teachers, homemakers, artists, and yes, and yes, and yes, and yes, we are architects. We are grandmothers and fathers, Hispanic, Native Americans, Asian. We are connected in ways we have yet to understand. We are here, people, in this glorious and blessed now, assembled by chance, but family nonetheless, knitted together by the unfolding mysteries tangled in our brains. We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here. We are here having been told that ALS is a rare disease, and that there are too few of us. But we are here knowing that a cure for ALS may be the key that unlocks treatments for brains on fire, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, Parkinson's, and so. Yes, we know that everything is rare until it happens to you or someone that you love. We are here having been told a story that ALS has no cure, no effective treatment, having been given a dire prognosis. Life expectancy, weeks, months, years, exhausted. We are exhausted by our search for answers. But we are here knowing that no cure is very different from no, not yet, not yet. We are here, wearing the faces and the memories of those we've loved. We are here, caregivers, lovers, friends, the flags of hope billowing in the breeze. We are here in this glorious now, this glorious, glorious now in constant motion, this glorious now that we have named time. We are here by amazing grace. How sweet the sound we are here. We are the answers to all that we seek. We are the cure. Some may say we have a little reason to believe that this dream can come true. And yet, and yet, and yet, we are here.
My name is Michael Lecker. I'm the Vice President of Organizing at AM ALS. And I just want to tell you about a scene that I experienced yesterday. As things go on event days, everything was going wrong in the morning. All the Uber XLs were canceling on us. And I just, never mind I'm going home, I'm going to get my car. Panicking, I drove down here. Oh, locked up my car first. Drove down here. Sorry. Drove down here. Oh, that's there. We go. This is my place. Okay, so I drove down here in a panic, just like so much anxiety, and I pull up my car and I see all of these people standing here. And then that moment I was like, I don't have to do this alone. All of these people showed up here to help, and they got the work done incredibly fast, and I just want to thank you all for being here that morning and giving me that hope, because this is what you do every single day. Every single day when I wake up a little anxious, wake up a little worried about like, what are we going to do? How are we going to end ALS? And then I get to see you all on Zoom, see your emails, see your passion. Your passion keeps me alive, so thank you. I do want to thank a couple of people. I want to thank the special events team who showed up every week to help develop this. They're incredible people. I'm just going to read a few so I don't forget. Okay, Ron and Bernadette, thank you so much. Cristy and Deb, you rock. Emma Arrington, thank you so much. I also just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of the ALS organizations who are here and those who are not. There's a lot of incredible people doing a lot of incredible work today, tomorrow, in the past, and I'm just inspired by that, and I'm just so happy to see you all here. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the community. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up by introducing somebody who probably doesn't need to be introduced. Deb is my friend, a colleague, an incredibly strong person, somebody I love so much, so please give it up for her as she comes to the stand.
I love when he introduces me. I'm just going to echo everything that Michael said. He really encompasses how I feel about this community and the love and appreciation, I have for everyone. So I'm really excited to hear from all of you. This is probably my favorite part of, one of the favorite parts of this weekend. So let's just get started and hear from you guys. This gives everyone a chance to let us know what you're thinking, what's important to you, to give gratitude, and let's kick it off with Spero.
So, my voice doesn't work very well. I've recorded a message. I'll play it from my iPad. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome everyone. I am Spero Koulouras, and I am ALS, but I do not choose to be defined by motor neuron disease. My hands don't work, my speech is slurred, but I am not disabled. I need help to dress and help to eat. I am surrounded by love. My legs are failing, my lungs weaken, but I can't slow down. because today I am hitting leadoff as a proud member of this club whose initials adorn our jerseys. We are ALS, the Amazing Life Society. This is no ordinary team. The membership fee is the most expensive on earth. We can't sell our memberships or get traded to another side. As teammates, we turn to each other for hope and inspiration. Until we become free agents, we share unbreakable bonds. Rookies on this team are not hazed. They are welcomed. In my first days with the club, I found a mantra that I've appropriated and will share. So hitting cleanup today, my number 4, a Jennifer Rail Landis poem, The Thorn. I have no harvest but a thorn, self-pity cried to me. But in the light that holds untrue, the lessons I can see. The thorn I loathe holds pain and loss, and grows progressively, piercing flesh that once was safe, and marks the end for me. Before I go, I'll make my mark, as I have learned to do, reaching out to help those lost, the many or the few. This thorn of mine has given me both darkness and a light. That torch I'll hold till my hand folds, and heavy falls the night. To all my new teammates, thank you for everything each and every one of you does to redefine ALS and make the Amazing Life Society the greatest team of the 21st century.
That's
cool. That was amazing. Next up we have is Deb Winters.
Thank you for being here. The family of God, the circle of life. It takes a village. It means we are community. It means we need community. All of these thoughts have swirled through my mind this morning. We are here because no one should fight ALS alone, and we are better together. Over 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with ALS. My priorities at that time became crystal clear. God gets all the glory and praise every day. Prayer, care, attention to my family and my loved ones became the strongest part, and to live each and every day to the fullest. It was a good place to be for a person preparing to die in a relatively short time. Despite the averages and the grim diagnosis, there seems to be a different plan for us. In the last 26 months or more, my progression of muscle weakness and paralysis has been incredibly slow. Is that a combination of the 3 medications I'm taking, a characteristic of my ALS, an answer to prayer? I don't know, and yes, I'm grateful. I do know I'm on this side of heaven, so I still have work to do. So, we begin to gather a group of committed friends, the purpose and the plan to raise awareness and educate people regarding ALS, and to raise funds for people living with ALS and their caregivers, supporting this small and powerfully committed community that none of us chose to join. Debbie's hope for tomorrow was born. To the beautiful people gathered here this morning, each one of you likely a volunteer, a friend, a member of the family ready to pitch in and help, thank you. You make a difference. ALS humbles those with the disease. It is often a disease of isolation. Friends and family disappear, losing the ability to perform daily personal care, needing to ask for help when you've always been the one that was offering help is difficult to swallow. Many don't want to be around disabled, dying, needy people. So to say I've been humbled by the outpouring of love, support, and willingness to respond from my community is a profound understatement. Thank you seems inadequate. Deb's hope for tomorrow is a statement of my commitment to the future, changing my mindset from preparing to die to preparing to live long while disabled has taken a lot of energy. Deb's Hope for Tomorrow is a nonprofit designed to outlive me, but also to be the vehicle that I use to help others while living with this disease. It's a way I can share the love and hope that Jesus has provided for me and support in practical ways for the needs of pals and pals in our community. Why am I here? I'm here because I can be. I'm here for others who can't. I talk because I can, and for those who can't, I share my story to help others understand. I share my story so others can see hope. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Robert Ordway.
My speech blew away in the wind on my bike ride over from Congress, so we're going to test out my 15-year-old LASIK surgery here. See if it still works at 39. Well, good morning. My name is Robert Ordway, and I work for U.S. Senator Mike Braun of Indiana. Today, I'm speaking in my personal capacity to honor my dad, Doug Ordway. I can't remember the exact date, but it was sometime in 1998 when Mom and Dad returned from the Cleveland Clinic, a 5-hour trip away from our home in Northwest Indiana. I was 13 and my sister was just 9 years old. When the clinic told Dad that he had ALS, the only advice they gave was to go home and get your affairs in order. At the time, there were no support groups, no assistive technology, much less any treatments to give our family hope. To make things more difficult, family problems arose as my mom battled a lifelong battle with bipolar disorder, which led to her suicide many years later. That challenge forced me into the role of primary caretaker, while I had help from family, and I think my Aunt Sue, who was there the most. Doug Ordway made it over 5 years, living far beyond the doctor's expectations. And he passed away just a few months after I started college in the fall of 2003. Instead of seeking help afterwards, I just bottled up all the anger, pain, and resentment I had from the situation. Most of it was directed at God, but some at family members. It wasn't until the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge of 2014 that these buried wounds were reopened against my will. As much as I hated the pain that resurfaced, I was also overjoyed to see this disease finally getting the national attention and funding it deserves. This is where God comes back into the picture and shows his eternal goodness. By some happenstance, I was hired into Senator Braun's DC office when he took office in 2019. That fall, he allowed me to write a personal op-ed about ALS in my local newspaper. Shortly thereafter, the late Lorri Carey, an ALS patient from Indianapolis, reached out to me regarding the state of politics when it came to finding a cure. After I handed him off to our healthcare staffer, Riley Inman, and our legislative director, Katie Bailey, it was off to the races. With the help of AM ALS, Senator Braun and Senator Coons of Delaware founded the bipartisan ALS caucus with 12 members. Together, they went on to file an annual resolution designating May as ALS Awareness Month. And by the end of 2020, they passed into law the ALS Disability Insurance Act. That summer, as COVID raged, Senator Braun introduced the Promising Pathways Act, a bill to create a rolling, real-time drug approval pathway to speed access for individuals with rare progressive, and terminal diseases like ALS. To promote the bill, Senator Braun hosted the first ever patient-driven hearing in the Aging Committee last October, where Brian and Sandra gave an amazing testimony. Last week, he reintroduced PPA 2.0 with endorsements from over 100 outside groups. Senator Braun is retiring from Congress at the end of this year. However, this bill is one of his top priorities to see through to the finish line. To support his effort, I'll be cycling 750 miles from Washington, D.C. to my home in Northwest Indiana to raise money for AM ALS and support EPA 2.0. Lastly, I'm finalizing the chapters of my book, Mill Rat, a memoir about ALS, adversity, and the American dream. My family didn't have religion and didn't have money, but Doug Ordway passed along some timeless principles that I think are worth sharing when it comes to the fragility of life and how we ought to treat each other. When I look back at how ALS impacted my life over the past 25 years, I'm reminded of a book by the late John Payne titled The Luckiest Man. How a 17-year battle with ALS led me to an intimacy with God. Even after obtaining every possible level of what we call success today, it took ALS diagnosis to get John to step back, reflect, and fully submit his life to God. I want to thank Brian and Sandra for founding this amazing organization, as well as the rest of the AM ALS team and support in their efforts every single day. I appreciate the opportunity to share my family's story and hope that Doug Ordway inspires you to continue to fight to end ALS. Thank you.
Okay, next we've got Cristy Hardin.
She said I'd have to be really close. So I'm here representing a friend of mine who passed away. I was his primary caregiver, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him. And I am just overwhelmed by the love and the family feel. You're going to see me ugly cry. By this community. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. I'm happy to be a volunteer here. So Kurt's ALS symptoms began in 2020 amidst the sea of stress due to the ongoing uncertainties of COVID and an impending divorce ending his 20-year marriage. Initially, doctors believed his symptoms to be stress-related. I'm sure some of you can relate. However, a bad fall resulting in several broken ribs and a banged-up face triggered that ALS warning. He received his official diagnosis on February 24th, 2021. I met Kurt in 2006 at Valencia College in Orlando, Florida, where we worked closely together on strategic planning for the college. When he moved to Houston in 2017, I got to see him continue his commitment to higher education while pursuing his dreams of becoming a college president. Unfortunately, that ALS diagnosis ended that dream abruptly, but that did not slow him down. The most amazing thing to me was how Kurt demonstrated his superhuman strength and endurance in the face of the challenges associated with ALS, much like I see most of the ALS warriors here. He handled the everyday challenges with such grace and dignity and without fear. A lot of people upon receiving this diagnosis would have folded in on themselves and just drifted through the rest of their lives with a lot of self-pity, and that would be totally understandable. But that was not Kurt. Like many of the amazing people I've gotten to know through my volunteer work here, Kurt worked hard to create a legacy and to impart his experience and wisdom on the next generation of educators. Even while his health was deteriorating, he prioritized student learning and wanted to leave a legacy that would ensure that the students of tomorrow would have the best opportunities possible. He also wrote thoughtful and very incredible poetry. We called them his poflections, to help people deal with his feelings about his diagnosis. He wrote about having to tell his mother, to writing about the anticipatory grief he experienced at the hands of ALS. He kept working right until the end of his life, making his life mission to be thoroughly used up. Kurt was honest, kind, supportive, candid, hilarious, and always provided lots of laughs and thoughtful conversations, and we drank lots of wine. Kurt was an amazing force in this world, and his goal was to always improve the lives of others through his work. He succeeded in so many ways, both professionally and personally. I had the honor and privilege of being Kurt's primary caretaker for the last 7 months of his life, and watching this man's transformation to embrace this attitude of authentic vulnerability was a true blessing. My goal now is to carry forth his legacy as a volunteer here with AM ALS so that his spirit will live on through the lives of those who loved him and respected him, and for those who can learn from his ALS journey. Kurt died on October 21st, 2023. Thank you.
Thanks, Cristy. Next we have Jonathan Manhardt.
Hello, everyone. I'm here on behalf of my mother, Patty Manhardt. Sorry. I'm here on behalf of my wonderful mother, Patty Manhardt, and she wanted me to share a message with you before I began my speech, which is we need brainstorm neurone now. And additionally, I received the news of my mother, Patty Manhardt's ALS on July 23rd, 2020. As a son, this news was frankly shocking and horrifying. As a Christian with a deep connection to my faith, this led me to the timeless question that the faithful have asked of their Creator since the beginning. Why would a just God do this to me? More importantly, why would a just God do this to my mother? I began to wrestle with this question and began further exploring my faith. I happened across a video of a Christian preacher by the name of Nick Vujicic, who was born without arms or legs. In his early years, he was rejected and bullied by his peers and loved ones to the point of attempting suicide. He pored over this question of why God would create him this way. He came to the answer while reading the story of how Jesus healed a blind man in the Gospel of John, chapter 9 of the Bible. The verse reads, quote, "As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, 'Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?' Jesus answered, 'Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but it happened so that the works of God might be revealed in him.' At first, I did not understand how this could apply to me and my mother, but as time went on, the application became clear. Struggle is not a burden, but an opportunity to bring out the best in humanity. Over the course of my mother's illness, I saw more love, compassion, and kindness amongst our family and in the wider ALS community than I have ever seen in anywhere else during my 25 years of life. I watched as my mother pressed Shri Palolo into interviewing and supporting the ALS community, sat on video call after video call, attended countless advocacy events, and did everything in her power to not only fight for her own future, but the future of all those who have this horrible disease. Friends, we have an opportunity unlike any other. Each of us has been placed right here and right now for a definite purpose. Right now, our country is divided unlike we have seen in recent memory. In this movement, I have seen people from all walks of life come together to support one another and push for a brighter future for themselves and future generations of those afflicted by this horrible disease. We have an opportunity to show this divided country love, unity, compassion, courage, and determination unlike this country has ever seen. We can be the ones who ended ALS. Thank you.
Next we have Timothy Werner.
Hello. Wow. This is no disrespect to anyone here, but this is not a group of people I would have liked to be associated with. I fixed this 6 years after being diagnosed. Here I'm in our nation's capital, sharing my thoughts and experiences in front of thousands of flags, honoring people past and present who fought ALS. I am heartbroken to say that I have way too many friends' names on these flags. With that being said, I'm looking around here at some of the toughest, caring, courageous, relentless individuals in the world. One very important thing I have learned a person needs in fighting ALS is you have to have people around you with these characteristics. I have some of these amazing people with me today. This is my beautiful and talented wife, Stephanie. She is my best friend of 24 years. I know she doesn't even look 24. She has become a jack of all trades. I have developed my very own language, and she is the only person in the world who can kind of understand it. In the beginning of our relationship, I carried her around, and now she carries me around. I have my bodyguard / caregiver and friend, Samantha. She negotiates for me. She saves me from security. When I sneak into the crew pits and garages of the NE500, with her help I am able to give my wife a much needed break from my crazy antics. Thank you, Samantha. Lastly, I have Ken, my friend and brother from another mother. He has been fighting ALS over 13 years and knows exactly what I'm going through. We get into a lot of trouble. He totally kicked my ass, racing yesterday in our wheelchairs in the hallways of the senator's office yesterday. The old man still got sick. It's worse than a hammer to the fingernail, but I can say if it wasn't for this disease, I would not know these great friends, and so many more back home. I am a retired elementary teacher, assistant principal, husband, son, brother, uncle, and friend. After retiring from my career in education, I have made it my mission to help others fight this disease by bringing people together, spreading awareness, helping people know that they are not alone in this battle. We make videos on YouTube. We invite others to our home for social hangout and demonstrations. We reach out to other fighters and let them know they are not alone. Thanks to another great friend named Brent Lee, we have monthly ALS lunches. We started out with just a few people and now have upwards of 30 people. His flag is up there today. We lost Brent last year, but he lives on with all of us. And his wife and sister are here with us today in honor of him. I am excited by the amount of progress and resources that have been put towards trying to make ALS a survivable disease. Just in the short 6 years that I have had ALS, we have gotten national funding and attention. There are more trials and research than ever before going to finding a cure. My wife and I spoke to our state senate last year, and for the first time in history, Indiana dedicated state funding to help families with ALS. I want to encourage you to get together in your own community just like we are doing today. The more people that see us and talk to us and see who we are, the faster we will beat this beast. I hate ALS because it seems to me to be a disease that only affects good people, people making a difference. I truly believe that this is going to be why we will find a treatment sooner than later because of amazing people like each of you. Please continue to spread awareness and supporting the ALS community. We need everyone working together to cure this monster. What an incredible experience this is to be together this week. We are truly stronger together against ALS. Thank you so much for your time. Love to each of you, and God bless.
President Paul Seifert.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay in the back? Yeah. Wonderful. All right. If what I'm about to say makes you angry, then I've only accomplished half the reason I'm here. My goal is to make you angry, but to inspire as well. 100 years ago today, on May 30th, 1924, life expectancy for a person with ALS was 2 to 5 years. Today, 100 years later, and a quarter century after we mapped the entire human genome, life expectancy for a person with ALS is still 2 to 5 years. That's failure. Now, who's to blame for this? Is it Congress? No. Is it the researchers and the scientists? No. Is it the alphabet soup of federal agencies working on this? No. Who's to blame? We are. We're to blame. This group, every group, is to blame. We haven't been good enough for all the good that we've done. Now, what is good enough? What ends this thing? Well, yesterday I was on the Hill passing out our funding requests, the total of which was maybe $300 million. That ain't gonna get it done, folks. There it is, right there. See, it blew away as soon as I mentioned it. You want to attack a disease? We know what the federal government does. It doesn't mess around with millions. It bombs it with billions. When the numbers on that sheet add up to $1 billion a year, then something's going to change. Something will change. Those flags back there, 6,000 of them, are going to be different. Maybe they'll look like this. You know what that is? You're a Cubs fan. I see you back there. That's a W flag. And on the names will be all the people who didn't go through this because we got the funding that was needed to kill this disease. But we aren't there yet. And we can't pat ourselves on the back just yet. Now, I've seen that's a familial genetic disease. And I had to tell my kids that they had a 50-50 chance of having this genetic mutation. My son, I had to tell him that 6 months after he got married. He went out and got tested. And he has the same mutation I do. Now, I will be goddamned if he's going through this. So this isn't for me or you or anyone. This is for the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds who don't know it yet, but they're gonna get it if we don't do better. So I'm asking you, do better. Write your Congress, write your senator, write your governor. Tell them we need those resources. Tell them we need that research. Because that's the only way we fly this flag instead of those flags. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have up Georgetta Patterson-Walton. Is Georgetta here? Okay. Candace, you're up next. Yep.
Hi everybody, my name is Candace Donovan and I was born and raised in Morristown, New Jersey. And I just like to thank everybody for being here. And my balloon. Thank you. I'm going to start off with 7,727 days. That's 7,727 days. That's about 21 years of my normal life. That's the number of days between June 27th, 1972, and when I was born, a beautiful, healthy baby girl, to August 23rd, 1993. 1993, when I was given 6 months to live, I was told I had ALS. And I told the doctors, and after my doctor told me that, I knew it was going to be an ever-changing journey. I sat there thinking, how? No way. And my emotions argue with my diagnosis. I was sad and dumbfounded with my diagnosis. I was mad of how my new and sudden life plan that I had to face was going to change every day. I cried and I laughed, and I still compared how my life I wanted to be to how it is today. And I told my doctors that they were wrong. And they were wrong because I'm Irish and we fight hard. And I told him that he was wrong because my mama taught me to believe the ink in the Bible, not the ink on a doctor's report. And that's what I do. But after I thought, I was like a whole parade of emotions came through my body and in my mind. And how? And I had all these accomplishments and sports recognition ran through my head. How could this flesh, who has state records in diving and in swimming, how could this young, strong, determined athlete, who was the first freshman in her high school to be a varsity soccer goalie, being a daredevil at Kennington, Vermont, I could not wait to get on a double diamond ski and go down that hill. And I danced every time I got a chance. I was beating my feet up, doing tap, jazz, ballet, toe. If it could shake my body, I was dancing to it. And I tell you, we're not going to talk about Friday nights because my mama, that was our roller skating. And then it said, how did my life come to this? And what did I do wrong? And where did I go wrong? And I started pitying myself. And then I said, oh no, this isn't going to happen. I'm going to change this way. So I educated myself. And we all know the education, so I'm not going through it. But Senator will hear it later on about it, okay? So I'm going to give you some facts about my life. Some of these facts are real events that happened in my life since August 23rd, 1993. 326 days after I was told I had 6 months to live, I married my high school sweetheart. 2,060 days after given 6 months to live, my daughter Nancy was born. 4,229 days after given 6 months to live. My mom passed away. 4,244 days. My youngest son Colin was born. 7,716 days after I was told I was going to die. I got divorced from my high school sweetheart. Y'all can laugh because I am now too. 9,551 days after I was told 6 months I was going to live. I watched my oldest son, Charles, who was 2 months old when I was diagnosed, marry his high school sweetheart, Leanne. This child again was 2 months old when I was told I was going to die in 6 months. 10,522 days after I was given 6 months to live, I became a grandma to a beautiful baby girl, Delaney. 10,732 days after I was given 6 months to live, I got a job at Morristown at a total rehab, and I'm still working there today. 11,138 days after given 6 months to live, finally found a true love called Craig. And today, May 30th, 2024, marks 11,238 days. Let me repeat that one more time. 11,238 days. I've been battling for ALS, fighting for my life, and beating the odds. That equals out to 30 years, 8 months, 36 days. I have done this. And I'm going to let you know right now, I am standing here, not for pity, I'm standing or sitting here for all the ALS warriors who have no voice left, who have passed away. And just two more thoughts. No matter what anybody is given in this world and in this life, I want you to look at those flags hanging right there at that monument. And I want you to spell American. And I want you to spell American again. And I want you to spell the last 4 letters. American. AMERICAN. And what does that say? I can. If I can beat ALS for over 30 years, we as a group can do anything we want to do. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell my story. And let's go kick some at the Congress and Senators.
Thanks, Candace. All right, just to keep it moving, I've got to get reorganized with my notes here, but I'm gonna call Lorri Carey up next.
I should know how to work a microphone.
She has a podcast.
Hi, my name is Lorri Carey, and I've been living with ALS for 20 years. I'm an ALS advocate. I'm the mother to Kids for Cure. I'm the host of a podcast called I'm Dying to Tell You, where I share stories of inspiration and build ALS awareness. Standing here in front of these 6,000 flags, I am reminded of the strength and the resilience of this entire community. Yesterday, my son and I, we walked by every single flag. I found my name. I found the names of many, many friends that I lost. I found the names of people that I held hands with when they died of ALS. And I found names of so many others that I didn't know until yesterday. Every single flag is a symbol of a journey, from days to weeks to years, and in my rare case, and Candace's rare case, even decades. But mostly representing a precious life that has or will be taken way too early. Like, what is it? How can people like Marjorie Stickler, a young, beautiful woman who is bedbound and does not have the ability to move or breathe on her own? How can Marjorie write a book about finding true happiness? How does Della Larson go on social media every day and share her heart? I'm dying to tell you, over the past 20 years, what I have witnessed that makes that possible. And it is the power of community and your contribution. Community and contribution. ALS takes away our capacity to do a lot of things, but not to come together when we need it. Look at the group called Her ALS Story, a group of young women who were all diagnosed with ALS under the age of 35. I have witnessed the power of them coming together and forming such great lifelines. But community is not just about receiving, it is about giving. I'll never forget my conversation with Mitch Albom. He's the author of the book Tuesdays with Lorri. And I asked Mitch, what was the most impactful lesson that you learned from Lorri, who was dying from ALS? And he said, giving is living. Giving is living. Giving is the most important action in life. Each of us has something unique to give, no matter how limited we may feel by our physical condition. ALS cannot diminish our capacity to impact this world. Your stories, your insights, and your presence inspire others. Contribution can be as easy as sharing a smile, being here today, joining an I Am ALS community team, advocating for ALS research. The power of your contribution is limitless. For anyone that might be here or listening that isn't familiar with ALS, let today and let this moment be the moment. Help us learn about the disease, understand its impact, and find ways to get involved. You will make a difference. All of you, thank you for being a part of my ALS journey. Your courage and your commitment inspire me. Know these 6,000 flags also represent our community and our contributions as we fight to end ALS. And if you listen to my podcast, you'll know you are loved and not alone. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lorri. Next up is Lisa Johns.
Hello, everyone. I have to say I'm feeling a little bit unprepared. I didn't write anything formal. I've just always kind of been an improv type of girl. But my name is Lisa Johns. I'm here today with my tribe. This is my oldest son, Trenton. My youngest daughter, Hannah. She's the youngest of the tribe. And my son in the back, Taylor. I couldn't have done this without them. But I just wanted to share my story. I'm here to do so and bring awareness, support I Am ALS, and all the incredible organizations out there fighting for us. And I would also like to advocate for FDA to approve functional medicine and alternative treatments so that our healthcare insurance will cover some of these costs. Because I was diagnosed at the age of 55 in January of 2023. This was just 8 months after I had symptoms, and 4 months after my diagnosis, I was in a wheelchair and completely dependent on my children to take care of me. So I've had to just, wrap my head around all of this very, very quickly. And I had to make a choice very, very quickly. But I did. And I'm a fighter. I'm not going to give up. And I came across an organization called HealingALS.org, 47 Steps to Healing. And there are reversals. There are several reversals with different types of treatments. And we can do this. We can absolutely do this. Whenever I was diagnosed, I, like many of you, were, told to just go home, get my affairs in order, start checking off my bucket list. I was given a death sentence. Well, I'm not accepting that, and nor should you, any of you. So let's support all of these incredible organizations and just keep fighting, because, let's fight for Congress, to give us hope and help us live.
Okay, next up we have is Maya Bomar. Okay, is Maya here? All right, we're just gonna move. Next is Brandy. Brandy or Maya, are you here? Okay, let's go to Angela Thayer.
Yes. It is so amazing to see so many wonderful individuals who have common interests gathered together for a greater cause. I'm here. My name is Angela Thayer, and I'm here on behalf of my father, John Thayer. He was diagnosed January 24th of 2018. It was respiratory onset. He only lived 7.5 months. His backstory is a small town, 12-year-old and a 15-year-old fell in love in a big way, married at 16 and 19, had 8 kids in 14 years. He was an over-the-road truck driver, so he was oftentimes away, driving countless miles to support our family. They had 25 grandchildren, and he did live 1 week long enough to see his first great-grandchild. We had a massively difficult time accepting the inevitable, because when someone looks at you and says that you have ALS, you know that is a death sentence, and I find that unacceptable. And as it was pointed out earlier, we need to connect with younger generations, whom I brought my she's now 17-year-old, and her 2 best friends. I had a massively difficult time accepting ALS, but I want you to see the perspective of my 11-year-old, 11 years old. She wrote this. She wouldn't even speak about it. She was kind of Papa's girl. He called her his sweet Oopie Pie. So Sweet Oopie Pie wrote this at 11 years old and put it at my bedside, handwritten. ALS is a bully, nothing more, nothing less. It steals and never returns. Sorry, guys. It hurts. It hurts everybody, not just those with it, but those who much watch their family and friends suffer. It takes for reasons beyond us. It takes love, happiness, and life. ALS is not evil. It is not a villain nor a hero, just life. The true heroes are the ones who choose to not only overcome it, but still love and live. ALS may be incurable, but the only true cure is actually love. ALS makes those with it suffer, but it helps them learn how important love is. In many ways it takes, but in a few it gives. And this is what's most important. It makes you stronger as you lose strength. It teaches you to cherish every moment. It teaches you that you are only as strong as your will. It shows that love prevails through all and love never dies. ALS takes in many ways, but it gives. So what I ask that we give is all of the time, energy, and effort we have with this opportunity together gathered here today to make an impact so that the individuals such as my now 17-year-old daughter have a better grasp of understanding that can carry on, because her words carried me through some of the darkest time. Where there was hurt, I found healing in her words. Where there was lack of hope, I found hope within that. So I just want to thank you all for being here and doing this, and keep fighting the good fight, and together we can. We can do this together. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Next up we have is Marjorie Stickler.
Hello, guys. I'm not as prepared as some people. I usually just speak my mind, my heart, and I think with ALS, that is what we need to do. We need to show our hearts more. We started this journey. I'm here on behalf of my brother, Joseph Stickler. He was a true warrior. We started out as a family, myself, my mom, my brother. And when we started this, it was just very minimal information that we were given. We had to find out a lot on our own. In this journey, although it has been difficult, if you look around at everybody around you, you are not alone. My brother, he firmly believed that. He held his head up high. He wanted nothing more, and he said from day one, you have to keep fighting. Fighting for the people to get what they need and be able to find hope for everyone, even if he didn't get it. This has been incredibly emotional. He passed away October 21st, and this is the first time I'm getting back into trying to be an advocate for him and other people that are unable to do it, or sometimes you just don't have the heart and you just can't get your emotions in check enough to do it. That's where everybody else here has to come in. We all have to get together and get to Congress, get the Senate, get the funding, and let's get the FDA and get treatment options available and cures for anybody and everybody that needs it. We all deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up is Andrea Paust.
Wow, this is a powerful, powerful group of people. So I'm Andrea Paust Backman. I want to share my ALS story with you. Somewhere in this huge mall is a flag that bears the name of Sally Pauls, my mother. She was energetic, she was positive, she was beautiful, she was exceedingly strong, she was capable, and she was so very loving. She survived childhood poverty and abuse. She lost both parents by the age of 12. She left her country of birth on a boat alone as a teenager to come to America and became an American success story. She started a career, met my father, and raised a family. That this woman, who could survive anything, could be brutally quelled by ALS was shocking to me and to our entire family. And in many ways, it still is. After we lost Mom in 2010 to a 3-year battle that took her smile, her voice, and her ability to hug her husband, her children, and her grandchildren, I became determined to do what I could find to find the answers to the devastation of ALS. So after Mom passed, I was a little leery of getting involved in the ALS community. Who was I to join the ALS fight? I have no medical background. I was an investment manager with a demanding career and a family. But my mother's journey through ALS had changed me, and I knew I needed to act. Through a friend, I began to volunteer for the ALS Association. I was asked to join the National Board of Trustees. And like many of you, I attended lots of meetings, and I learned how ALS research and care services and advocacy worked, or in many cases didn't work. And I threw myself into the fight. I've made countless trips to congressional offices here in DC, told my story, pushed for more funding to uncover the causes and cures of ALS, and discussed the needs of people diagnosed with ALS today. So after a couple of years of this, I became CEO of the Les Turner ALS Foundation. I dedicated myself to improving ALS education and support services, research, access to clinical trials, both in this country and around the world. We worked closely with hundreds of families of all backgrounds, and I saw firsthand how people diagnosed with ALS struggled from that very first day to get services for a rapidly progressive disease that stole their heart, devastated their finances, and too often tore apart their family. Our broken healthcare system in this country works so poorly much of the time, and it is never more apparent than in a disease like ALS. The odds seem very much against us. Then in 2018, a young lawyer named Brian Wallach, who I see in the back of the room, who had recently been diagnosed with ALS, asked me to help him launch a new ALS organization to marshal community grassroots efforts and bring more funding to this fight. And we did, serving as the fiscal sponsor for AM ALS. And from that original lunch meeting in Chicago, Brian, he's laughing, and in the years afterward, I have been so proud to see the huge accomplishments in this community, the accomplishments that you've made, including passing the Act for ALS, to increasing research funding, to therapeutic drug approvals, and we aren't done. Today, as the founder of ALS Strategy Consulting, I continue to work closely on national policy issues and programs that align the needs of people with ALS and their families with funders, regulators, researchers, clinicians, and industry. And I see the huge steps we have taken, and I know there's more work to do. And as a community, you should know we are doing it. Thanks to your advocacy, NIH is funding a new natural history study called All ALS, which is launching this summer. Please be on the lookout for this. This is an important study moving forward. You should all be part of it. The FDA is working on new assessments, new clinical outcome assessments through a public-private partnership so that we can more easily prove the efficacy of drugs in clinical trials. And we now have several expanded access programs that allow people with ALS greater access to experimental treatments. And I can say, in the almost 18 years since my mother was diagnosed, The speed of change in ALS has never been greater than it is today, and you are all responsible for this. While this change is too late for my mother, Sally, and for so many others I've known, I do know the 30,000 people living with ALS in this country today deserve no less. I want to thank you to AM ALS for organizing this and to all of you for being here today. You are the change we need. We have no time to waste.
Thank you. Next up we have is Lorri. And we're wrapping things up here. So we've got several more speakers, and we're gonna try to make it to the summit on time. So.
Hi, my name is Lorri Higday, and thank you to Deb and to Michael and to AM ALS for inviting me back to one of my favorite events of the year. But I have to be completely honest with you, when I got to save the date in my email, I had mixed feelings and my heart skipped a beat because May 30th is probably my least favorite day of the year. On May 30th, 2005, I lost my courageous and wonderful mother after a tough battle with ALS. And she's always told me to look on the bright side. So the bright side is I can celebrate today that I've been an ALS advocate for 19 years. I am happy to be here to talk about the organization, after working with so many, that has truly captured my heart. And the name of that organization is Hope Loves Company. Hope Loves Company was started 12 years ago by my dear friends Jody O'Donnell Ames and Benton Ames. They each lost their spouses at a very young age to ALS while they had young children. They fell in love, they married each other, and they said we have to have something to support our kids. So they're just the kind of people who created their own nonprofit. HLC is the only nonprofit in the United States dedicated to the educational and emotional support of children impacted by ALS. I'm honored to be a longtime volunteer and to be on their advisory board. At our core, we've held more than 40 camps for kids and their families, and they can attend at absolutely no cost. We do this around the country, and at camp, kids get to bond with the only other kids who really understand their journey. The magic is that they come back year after year after year, and the volunteers do too, and we all become a family. But when we're sitting around that campfire, nobody needs to ask about ALS. We all know. Many of our volunteers are teachers or mental health professionals, and we volunteer our time because we've been touched by ALS. So it really has become a magical weekend where we connect, we share, we listen, and we learn. In addition to our camps, we offer college scholarships. We offer Hugs of Hope packages that we mail all over the country. They have fun, age-appropriate goodies to brighten a child's day, as well as ALS information, and we will send those to anybody. We also have HLC Hangouts, which are like virtual chat rooms for certain age groups, where they can see each other every month and connect in between seeing each other in the summer at camp. And last but not least, we service kids up to age 25, so we have young adult retreats for people who are caregivers. Please come talk to me today if I can share some information, and if you have a child in your life who might benefit from some of our services. We just kicked off our camp season 2 weeks ago in New Jersey. We had a magical 47-person community, and it was a fabulous weekend. One of the things we do at camp is we give shout outs to people who have done amazing things or have shown an act of kindness. So I'm going to give a shout out to our next speaker, because she's also from Hope Loves Company. She's been our managing director of fundraising and marketing, and she's on our executive board. And I'll tell you, she's going places. She is moving mountains in the ALS community. And as I stand here and look at one of my heroes, I think 20 years from now, people are going to look at Trott, and she's going to be one of their heroes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and a wonderful, beautiful new memory for May 30th. My dad is fond of saying there are no coincidences, and I know right now with you is exactly where my mom would want me to be. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, you're up.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Trott, and I am truly honored to be here today.
I wear many hats in my professional life: executive board member at Hope Lives Company, TV personality, social media influencer, former news reporter and anchor, podcaster, director of marketing. Yet the role I never anticipated was that of ALS advocate and former youth caregiver, that is now a role that I hold incredibly close to my heart. I would say a better description would be that of accidental advocate. And today I want to share with you, as devastating as ALS is, it allowed me to find my voice and my purpose. The journey began when my dad was diagnosed with ALS when I was just 19 years old, right at the start of my college years. The news was devastating, and I found myself grappling with the future filled with uncertainty. Balancing my studies at the University of Missouri Broadcast Journalism program with frequent trips home to support my dad was challenging, and the weight of difficult questions about the future often felt unbearable. Should I move home? Should I finish my education? Should I take that internship far away from home? How much time do we really have? I did finish my degree and did everything in my power to ensure after college I could land a job in a TV market close to home in San Diego. After college, I moved to Palm Springs as the weekend morning anchor and news reporter, trying to build a career and balance the demands of TV journalism while also being a caregiver and supporting my dad, my mom, and sister at home. It was a time of truly burning the candle at both ends, and eventually I made the tough decision to pause the start of my career and focus on what mattered most, which was my family. Over the next few years, I had a crash course in family caregiving, something everyone here knows all too well. From feeding tubes to bed transfers to bathing, every act of service was heart-wrenching, yet also an honor and privilege to care for my father, and something I look back and cherish to have that time together. Fast forward a year or so when a life-changing moment arrived in the summer of 2020 amid the pandemic. During this dark period where it seemed like our world and my personal world were both falling apart, a surprising opportunity arose, a chance to participate in season 25 of ABC's The Bachelor. It felt like a brief shining escape from our struggles. With my family's enthusiastic support, I took the leap, hoping it might be my big break in entertainment TV. Oh, and maybe a shot at love. Spoiler alert, it wasn't either of those. On the first episode of the season, producers included a short segment where I spoke about my dad's ALS journey and my personal hardships of being a young caregiver. That one episode aired to 5.7 million people. It was a surreal moment that almost overnight, my Instagram following soared by nearly 100,000 followers. My inbox flooded with heartfelt messages and stories from other young women like me. To my amazement, my story resonated with so many, especially young women who shared similar experiences. Hundreds of people reached out through social media, sharing similar stories and experiences of ALS, caregiving, and grief as a young caregiver. It was also at that moment my personal story and Dad's battle with ALS was brought into the national spotlight, opening a much-needed conversation of awareness about ALS and youth caregiving, gaining media attention across major news outlets. Suddenly, for the first time ever, I found myself not being in the trenches alone, but rather being embraced by an expanse of love and part of a community that understood my struggles. This connection was a turning point. I began to speak more openly about the painful thoughts of a future without my dad, the emotional and physical toll of caregiving, and the challenges of switching roles from a parent caregiving for a child to a child caring for a parent. For the first time, I truly felt I wasn't alone. I had found my tribe and felt compelled to connect these women together, not just with me and my Instagram inbox, but with each other. And that was the inception of Sarah's Caregiver Community, which started as a Facebook group, and then a WhatsApp group chat, virtual support meetings, and now 2 in-person weekend retreats. Many of us in our 20s and 30s, we became fast friends, supporting each other through our shared experiences, giving advice, and being there through the highs and lows of our ALS journeys. 2 of those women in that group are here today in this audience, Celia and Ashley. ALS is a devastating disease, but I want people here to know that there is hope. And I don't believe in accidents or coincidences. Being on a public stage through The Bachelor opened doors to advocacy that I never expected. It showed me that anyone can be an advocate, sharing your caregiving experience, just talking about it with friends, families, and coworkers, or even putting a career pause to care for your loved one on your LinkedIn. That can really make a difference. It's about bringing visibility to the often invisible struggles of caregivers and ALS and showing that we are not alone. To all the caregivers and those living with ALS here today, I want to say your story matters. By speaking up and supporting each other, we can make a difference. Thank you for being part of this community, and thank you for allowing me to share my journey with you. Together, we are stronger, and together, I believe we can find hope and strength in the face of ALS. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up we have is Lakeia Nard. Oh, are you?
My name is Lakeia Nard. I am also with many shades of I am ALS, but I also have a foundation called Melanie Children Matter. My son was diagnosed at 3 years old with pediatric ALS, and he passed away last year on Rare Disease Day. In that journey, it was alone. Nobody even understood that a child could have an ALS, let alone an African-American child with ALS. So I battled a lot of backlash of being a liar and a scammer. And, he was misdiagnosed 3 times. Advocacy is very important because if it wasn't for me advocating and going back to the neurologist after every diagnosis and showing her like that is not what he has, he would have never made it to the NIH where he was diagnosed with childhood ALS. After he was passed away, I donated his samples to the NIH to help find a cure or treatment, and I started the foundation to help others to bridge the gap in research for people and children of color. I'm sorry, I was kind of caught off guard. I thought I was supposed to speak tomorrow, so forgive me. So yeah, we bridge the gap. We fund research for childhood ALS. His mutation actually was SPTLC2. There are other mutations. I advocate for early access to whole genome sequencing to help eliminate misdiagnosed and be able to catch those early diagnoses so that we can be a part of clinical trials. I'm sorry, I've been crying all night. My eyes are so long. I did not expect to be affected as much as when I came today. I guess I haven't really properly grieved, and to see all of you, it brought so much emotion over me. And I thank you all, and I hope that I can gain all of your support, because there is such an emptiness for childhood ALS. There is not a fight. It is hard to find those who will help bring this to more of a broader light. So I want to thank each and every one of you for paving the way for me, and blessings to all of you and your experiences. And I love you guys.
Okay, so next we have Ben Reynolds. Is Ben here? We also are looking for Samantha Mendoza.
Okay, so I'm gonna read from this because I don't know if I can make it through, so. I just wanna say thank you to all of you for being here today, and a special thank you to I am ALS for providing this platform for all of us to honor our families' journeys and lead the fight for change. I am here today to honor a promise I made to my beautiful niece, Angelia Bursick, who was only 19 years old when she was diagnosed with ALS. From the moment Angelia entered our lives, she brought this radiant light that touched everyone around her. Her laughter, her boundless curiosity, her compassionate heart made the world a better place. She was a friend to everyone and had a gift for making others feel loved and valued. Her presence brought joy and warmth to our family and all who knew her. When Angelia was diagnosed in 2021, it was a devastating blow to our family. This relentless disease instantly robbed her of her ability to share her beautiful smile with us, to speak, to move, and to breathe on her own. And grow up to get married one day and have children of her own. ALS is an emotional roller coaster, but despite her immense challenges, she chose to live her life out to the fullest of her ability. She enjoyed family get-togethers, playing Jackbox TV. She enjoyed our spa nights with face masks and nail painting. She attended a concert and had a social media shout-out from her favorite artist, Dan and Shay. So many people came out of the woodwork to help her live a beautiful life. While we should never forget the battles our ALS warriors have faced, we should also never forget the struggles our caregivers, our families, friends, and health supporters also face. My sister, Amanda, who is here with us today, was an amazing caregiver and mother. She taught me the real definition of strength. As she spent countless sleepless nights, lost many hours and years to be a mother to her other children. She missed their games, their school events, school shopping, and important life moments. Like her, many families are impacted and being robbed of their blessing as a parent, a spouse, a sister, and a brother. In closing, I want to leave you with two things. A quote from my beautiful niece. She one day showed me her phone, and it said, "I am so proud of how far I have come." And my son, who during his darkest days, a friend stepped in and shared with him this quote. "Who lives, who dies, who tells our story?" As we reflect on our lives and our journeys, let's be reminded that tomorrow can be our last. And if it was our last, would people continue to tell our story? Do you have a story to tell? For me, I am remembering to value time and making the most out of life that I am blessed to live today. Tomorrow is never promised. My ask to you all is that you wake up tomorrow and you live your life to the fullest so your friends and family can continue to tell your story. Your legacy will always live on through them. My niece's ALS battle, her life, her story, although painful, has already helped so many people. Her story will live on through all of us who loved her. She was strength, she was courage, she was love, she was hope, and now she is our beautiful angel. As we remember our lost ones, loved ones today, and those who continue to fight, let's honor them by carrying forward the lessons they have taught us. Let us be inspired by their courage and determination to fight ALS and live a life to the fullest, no matter the obstacles we face. Like my niece always said, no fight is too big. And now we have this massive ALS family. No one will ever have to fight alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Okay, I'm looking for Ashley Lee and Ashley Thombs.
Thombs, okay, sorry, said that.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Thombs, and I've been a volunteer with AM ALS since 2020 and was on one of the original clinical trials teams. I got involved I was my dad's ALS advocate, looking into clinical trials while he still qualified before his eligibility ran out, even though COVID delayed so many. I am so grateful to have found AM ALS. It has served as a sounding board and has given me a source of community so me and my family did not have to feel alone. This group has changed our lives. My dad, Richard, was the epitome of health.
It's still strange to talk about my dad in the past tense. My dad was an extremely disciplined athlete. He ran 20 marathons, including New York City, Philadelphia, Yonkers, and the Jersey Shore. He fell in October of 2016 while doing his favorite activity, running, and landed on his left hand. He described to me that he felt like a supernatural force picked him up and threw him over an embankment on our local aqueduct dirt path. My dad said another person would have laid there and not gotten up, but my dad thought to himself, well, I only have 1 more mile to go. So he picked himself up and finished his run home. His left hand swelled up as large as a baseball glove. He went to urgent care, a hand specialist, and was told he was badly bruised and would be fine. But all through the next year, he noticed that he was having fasciculations throughout his left bicep. After going to Hawaii and noticing that he could not hold up his pinky in the hang loose sign, he visited a neurologist when we returned. He was diagnosed with ALS in March 2018 and also had the C9ORF72 gene mutation. We firmly believe that his fall triggered his gene to mutate. Listening to a lot of others today who are or were athletes, I think there's a strong correlator between extreme exercise and ALS. I only hope I can be as strong and that I could be as generous in my love as my dad was for his abundant love for life and his family. My dad passed away on May 10th, 2023, just a year ago. We had so many memories, all of our bike rides, him teaching me how to ride a bike, running, his half marathon and marathon races, family vacations and Yankee games. He worked so hard to provide for our family, to let us live a comfortable life. He was so talented and could fix whatever he touched. While he battled ALS, I truly saw firsthand everything he did in our house before he got sick. He was our personal handyman, roofer, plumber, and electrician all in one. For the past 5 years, I watched my dad face a new challenge and battle ALS. He would do whatever was possible to try and retain what muscle strength he had. He was in the Mass General platform clinical trial at Hershey, Penn State, and we live in New York, so it was 3-hour car rides each way. He was in the metformin trial at the University of Florida, where we flew to Jacksonville in the morning, drove 2 hours to Gainesville, and flew back to New York in one day, even though he had a lumbar puncture that afternoon. My dad was so determined, so disciplined. He'd never deserved this disease in the slightest, and to watch him go through this was beyond devastating. The most important thing I've learned from my dad over the past 5 years is that at the end of the day, the most important work we do is for our loved ones. To care for those who once cared for us is one of the highest honors. There has been so much grief along the way, a grieving of each thing he could no longer do, from dressing himself to showering, shaving, using his hands, and finally walking. My dad taught me work ethic, passion, and how to harness the energy of my big heart to do everything the way it should be done, with kindness and gratitude. This last year was hard. I felt pain that made me feel numb and sadness that I didn't know existed. The biggest lesson learned through this first year of grieving is that it serves a purpose. The duality of life and death need to exist alongside each other.
where nothing would provide meaning. There's deep wisdom being on an expedited path to understanding how precious life is. I was gifted a lesson in death that can only come through the lived experience of losing someone. I've realized that the brokenness I felt makes me human, connectable to many others, and the strongest sense of awareness that everything ends. The impermanent nature of life forces us into the depths of our most authentic lives. I miss my dad more than the world, and it still doesn't feel real. Sometimes I think he's just gonna come walk through the front door. His life was cut way too short, and there's a huge piece of me missing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Next is Stacy Lewin Farber.
Hello everyone. I feel so fortunate to be here today and see all of you. The people I work on so many committees with, the people I so admire, the people who inspire me, and I learn so much from. This morning at 6 a.m., I turned 60 years old.
Woo!
3.5 years ago, I truly did not think I would be here to see this milestone. We all know that ALS is relentless and evil. It takes from us all on a daily basis, and it is painfully unpredictable. While lamenting about this to a close, good friend, she shared with me a mantra she lives by. So Celestine, if you're out there listening, I listened. When we're young, we're taught about fire safety. Stop, drop, and roll. Right? Everybody remembers that. She told me as much as I could, while acknowledging it would be very difficult, to stop and drop the focus on what ALS was taking from me and swap it with thoughts of not only what I could still do, but what I had actually gained. I really like that. Stop, drop, and swap. So here it goes. You are robbing me of you are stealing my breath and making my ability to speak very difficult. But you have not and never will steal my voice. You are robbing me of my physical strength, yet I am stronger than I really ever thought I could be. My energy level is a fraction of what it once was, but I am more resilient than ever. I can no longer wear my high heels, but I have found some pretty awesome sneakers. You have seriously altered the trajectory of my future, but definitely not the hope I have for it. I can no longer rappel down a mountain, zip line, climb the Sydney Bridge at night in the rain, or do a fun mud run. And mind you, I only did each of those things only once. But swinging from a Hoyer lift is all the adrenaline rush I need. Although I can no longer practice the profession I truly love and worked at for more than half my life, I can still contribute in a meaningful and productive way, and I have actually learned more during the past 3.5 years than I did almost my entire life. And for that, I thank AM ALS and Brian Saunders for giving us a home to do this in. Although everything is now challenging and a struggle, awkward and uncomfortable, I will not relinquish the grace and dignity with which I face this disease. And lastly, and probably most important, is love. You cannot rob us of love and the people that love us. I thank my husband, my sons, my friends, my family, my caregivers. Without them, I couldn't do the things I do. I am truly grateful. So thank you for giving me this platform today.
All right, that was great. Thank you. And Dale, you're up next. And just so you know, we've got one more after Dale, and then we'll head over to the summit.
Wow, be careful what you ask for, huh? So I've been working on this a while. Dale Carnegie, the author of many self-help books, said if you know your subject, you can speak about it. I have lived with ALS cousin, Erica. And have experienced things, emotional and physical pain. If you have loved someone with ALS or any other type of medical condition, I want you to know that if I could care for my wife through the 4-year battle with ALS, I believe you can too. I cared for my wife because I loved her. I told her I wasn't her caregiver, I was her husband. No one else was going to be involved with her. I was tested taking care of her, as a lot of you are going through so much care now. When you're tested in life, that's when you find out what you're made of. I didn't run. I faced the challenge with a loving heart, and I know I did my best. Failure was okay, regret wasn't. My name is Dale Haddix. I live in Swartz Creek, Michigan. I believe I have earned the right to speak here today. 7 years ago, my wife Erica, who I had the privilege of being married to for 36 years, started having problems with her hips and knees. And as her health started getting worse, we visited Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where she was diagnosed with ALS. 2 years later, on July 7th, 2021, she passed away after a very tough health, emotionally and physically. My wife and I tried to move through life holding hands and walking forgiveness. We tried to support each other and not keep score. That is a very hard thing to do. I told my wife when she was diagnosed with ALS that we both got ALS, that I would take care of you until your last breath. When my wife was diagnosed with ALS at Mayo Clinic, she had asked me if I was going to leave her. I was offended to think that she would think that about me and have that fear. At the time of her diagnosis, we had been married for 32 years. She told me about this every day. Relationships breaking up because of sickness. I believe she asked me that question because she had to hear that I'm committed to her. I told her our marriage would not be one of those. I was scared of what the future would bring for her and for me, but I knew I had to be strong for both of us. Sometimes you have to do things scared. Please remember, in my opinion, it's better to care too much. Love is worth the risk of any pain you might experience. As I started to take care of my wife, I found out how much I really loved her. I was very busy taking care of her, myself, our home, and everything else that needed to be done. I tried to be positive and never complain. Erica had some great friends that helped out when they could. I found out what biofreeze was. It helps muscles relax. What witch hazel was, it helps to clean skin and help prevent rashes. I learned how to shift Erica in a wheelchair so she did not get sores. Also, dealing with people that parked in handicapped parking spots illegally. Boy, I'm definitely not good with that. Somewhere in Sterling Heights, Michigan, there's a woman in a black BMW 7 Series that is scared me. And she didn't like how I called her out on her entitlement. I wasn't very nice. So I guess everybody here knows what I'm talking about, huh? Also, I wasn't very good at doing Erica's hair. I got fired from that. Two friends of hers came over twice a week to do her hair. They did a real act of love and kindness. My wife looked and felt a lot better because of them. Sometimes a man just can't win. So, as I look back at my wife's actions towards me, as she felt her death coming closer, she actually tried to protect me and prepare me for my future. I couldn't even boil an egg. My wife did all the cooking. She was from German heritage. Those women know how to cook. Thank God I know how to use computers, YouTube, and Google. I can follow recipes. Her actions are too many to mention here, but here are a few things she wanted to discuss about my life after her passing away. She wanted to know about our money. Would I have enough to live on? It sounds funny, but I actually got a raise. Me getting one person lived cheaper than food. Me getting off the sofa, enjoying life, being happy. She made me promise her I would be active. I've been on 17 vacations since she passed away. She wanted me to find someone to love and receive love. Erica didn't want me to be alone. Erica's not that simple. Also, she warned me about dealing with a national cable company. She said, those guys are pretty slick. Everybody on the East Coast, you know what I'm talking about. She also made me promise her I would go to the doctor for my yearly physicals. She said men are stubborn, and she knows I haven't had good experiences with doctors. I love the thought that she was thinking about me and wanted the best for me. I still think about that conversation with her. She was in a wheelchair, but she could still communicate. Her actions matched her words. Isn't that what love is? Being a good woman and person is? Erica was never in hospice. I took care of her. She passed away in her home after 30 years. I believe that she eventually accepted her ALS diagnosis. She didn't want to leave me and the life that she had, but she had a peace with herself and life when she passed away. Erica lived all 68 years of her life with class, dignity, and respect. She never missed an opportunity to live life to the fullest and saw joy in simple things. She saw a world that was full of possibilities. Erica was a hard worker. She couldn't sit down. Had a beautiful smile and soul. Loved to laugh and have fun. I was very good at getting under my skin. I would be smiling the whole time. She loved flowers and always said flowers are so pretty when they're blooming. Erica told me I was her best friend and she would marry me again. I'm a roots now. She knew that she wasn't my best friend, and she knew I loved her more. That was a joke we had with each other. If you lost someone to ALS or any medical condition, I'm sorry for your loss, and ask for God's love to help you today and in the future. Please take your time grieving. We all grieve the loss of a loved one differently. Do not let anyone shame you for grieving at your own pace. Please take some quiet time to hear your heart. Remember, as my wife told me, Dale, live, please enjoy your life. Choose to be happy. Please know you will gradually build and feel better. It doesn't mean you have forgotten your loved ones. A good friend told me after my wife passed away that Erica left me for a better man named Jesus. I swear this happened. If you don't believe in him, it's okay, because my wife did, and I do. Whenever I was struggling with her care, I would remind myself about the story of footsteps in the sand. If you don't know that, please Google it. Another acquaintance told me that Erica also got to meet Lou Carey. Erica and Lou both received their diagnosis of ALS at Mayo Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota, approximately 83 years apart. I've read stories that Lou was a very good man, even though he was a New York I especially like the thought that Erica has met Lou Carey, because I've always been a baseball fan living in Michigan, a Detroit Tiger fan. My wife had to pass away from ALS and a disease made famous by a Major League Baseball player named Lou Carey, who passed away from the same disease 85 years ago. Lou was 37 years old when he passed away. Eric was 67. I've had two quote friends tell me that I shouldn't come to these ALS events. I wonder if they're really my friends or if they just have no empathy. They said I should put ALS and my wife's passing away behind me and move on. It isn't that easy if you love someone. A 36-year marriage and ALS isn't something that you can switch off in 3 years. At least I can. Going to ALS events as therapy helps with healing. I only do two events a year, and I found them to be very good for my soul. You meet some terrific people trying to make a bad thing into something better. You also get to meet some tourists that are just walking by from all over the world. I met a couple from Stuttgart, Germany here 2 years ago. Last year I met a group of police officers here from training from different states. They were all very interested in ALS, and they were sympathetic to my wife passing away and what we were trying to accomplish here. They were nothing like national TV has us believe policemen are. Remember, as you go through life and experience the challenges of life, that none of us had a chance to place an order for who we are, but we have a choice of who we become. I always told my wife that with the decisions in life, we are all just winging it. Try to laugh every day, not take life too seriously. Forgive yourself and others when you make mistakes. Apologize if you're wrong and try to become a better person every day. And try to look forward and remember that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason. Please remember why we are here. We are here to educate visitors at this ALS site on ALS. And remember the loved ones that they have lost are currently living with this disease. We are here to be an encouragement to everyone to share our good energy and our story. If you see someone sad or crying looking at these flags, give them a smile, ask them if they need a hug, give them a patient hearing, and there will be a blessing for the both of you. Please remember, the good was in all of us all the time, that just needed time to grow, and ALS and someone we love passed away, to bring more of it out of us. I'd like to thank two organizations for putting this event on, AM ALS and our government for allowing us to be here in Washington, D.C. Please take a moment to look around and think about how great a country we all live in. The history that was here, with the law, and the blessings and the freedoms that we have living in the United States. And finally, to all the speakers here today, you add your name to Americans that have spoken here on this stand and hopefully made a difference in other people's lives. My hope is that my words will be an encouragement to you. Please be kind to yourself, and God bless.
Wow, very, very moving. Thank you so much. Okay, next up is Tim Abeska.
So I have to follow that emotional speech. So my name is Tim Abeska. I am an ALS widower. My wife is Mary Ann. There's a memorial to her on one of the poster boards behind us. And you can click on the QR code and learn more about her story. She was an Air Force veteran who served her country and then became working with computers in the civilian world. The computers she worked with were very large and probably had less power than the iPhones that were all over your hands. We were married for 34 and a half years. The last 7 years of our marriage was a medical odyssey that began with her diagnosis with Parkinson's disease in February 2012, and then getting those symptoms under control, and then dealing with a whole new set of symptoms that ultimately led to an ALS diagnosis in 2015. We didn't have an organization like AM ALS to turn to for support. We weren't without support from the medical community, certainly, and we had the benefit of the VA system, which treats ALS as a service-connected illness, no questions asked. But I was hopelessly equipped to be a caregiver. Did find myself doing things I never thought I would be able to do or that I thought possible. I was able to channel my obsessive-compulsive disorder into organizing all aspects of her care. Mary Ann was my best friend. She made me the best version of myself. As we watched our retirement plans slip away, just like her mobility slipped away, her ability to speak slipped away, she told me, don't regret what we're about to miss doing together, but instead be thankful for all the good things we had together. And I try to listen to that advice as I go about my day now. The whole process brought us closer together. It made me realize what is important, and it wasn't all the billable hours I was racking up as a workaholic lawyer. But now that I'm 5.5 years out, I have been able to rebuild my life, reinvent myself as a serial volunteer, found this organization and started volunteering with AM ALS in January 2021. And I'm sporting the official Tim Lowry panel shirt because I'm involved as the coordinator of logistics for the Tim Lowry panel series that we present to people who are going to wind up in the medical field, whether it be doctors, nurses, physical therapists, speech therapists. If anybody here knows someone who is in school, tell them about the Tim Lowry panel series and have their professor request a panel so that we can educate the future medical personnel about what this disease is and how they should treat people. I'm unaccustomed to speaking last, given that my last name begins with the letters AB. I'm not going to speak any longer so we can all get to the summit, but thanks for listening.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to let you know that we have heartfelt thanks for all of you for being here, for sharing your vulnerabilities, for sharing your ALS stories, your loved ones, sharing your love with us. And really, thank you from AM ALS for letting us be part of your ALS journey. I want to give everyone a reminder that at 7 p.m. tonight for Love and Life, No Ordinary campaign, the screening is at the Ronald Reagan building. And to sign up, you need to go to our, you have to sign up and you can go to our website at imals.org. So that's it. Thank you all and have a great summit.